paid millions for doing bugger all. Surely, actually being a Chelsea manager is becoming parallel to being an NFL or a college coach, because you just turn up there after having no experience of being a manager, get paid 24 million, lose 6 games in a row, and then off you go, or swan off into the sunset.
Pretty
Surely
lucrative. But you
it's
need a
pretty
decent LinkedIn profile though, and you got
a
to think of a
LinkedIn
PowerPoint.
profile, and you need to have some link back to Chelsea in some way, shape, or form, or the Chelsea brand or the umbrella or whatever else. I think,
Yeah.
honestly, if you're a fan of Chelsea and you've been a fan of Chelsea for the last 4 years, you're probably third in line to be the next manager.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
quite a broad church. Even if you've gone over Chelsea Bridge once or twice, I'm sure that
Yeah,
counts.
yeah, it's close enough. If you even
Pretty
know where
sure as well
Stamford Bridge is,
if you've coached them on Football Manager
yeah,
and
yeah,
won a league title, that'll put you in
that'll
good
be enough.
stead.
Yeah, put that on your CV. You'll probably be
Me,
in there
Yeah.
with an interview.
over the
Worth
years
the
of
will
going to
still.
the over the years of going to the Etihad, I've seen him play like 6, 7, 8 times.
That's close enough.
Quite a lot of
Yeah,
times
definitely
at the
got an
Etihad.
insight there. I think you should be in there.
You're probably on the short list for being picked.
Chuck some slides in, see what happens.
Mm.
Never know. What they can only say no, right?
I
And
mean,
if
to
they
be
do,
fair,
you can probably charge them for.
all you've got to say is that you'll play them for a couple of games to keep their value up, and then you'll just switch the team around and keep doing that on repeat, and they'll absolutely love it because that's their model
Was
for the
it?
last
Just keep.
five
Yep.
years.
I mean, they've got 600 players on their books. They need to kind of cycle them around anyway. However,
Mm.
Right, shall we get on with I do believe there's like a podcast or something that we're
Proper
supposed to be
football.
doing tonight. Should we do that? A little
I
bit of that?
suppose we should. We should, but I mean, it's a bit of a weird one, isn't it? We're in that weird scenario situation for college football fans where everything, everything football related is about what's happening in Pittsburgh and the draft, and it's like,
Yeah. Well,
it's an odd one.
either way, welcome or welcome back to anyone who is tuning in to the College Football UK podcast. As ever, I am your host, Fletch, and joining me this week, I have three wonderful co-hosts. I have Sam, I have Adam, and I have Gary. Gents, it's been one hell of a week. How are we doing?
Doing good, thanks. Doing good.
Yeah,
Little
I'll
It's
bit
be
been a
glad.
long
here.
week and it's only Wednesday,
Yeah,
right? It's like,
nearly there.
I'll be glad. To be honest, I'll be glad when the draft starts because I feel like all I've been doing and talking about is draft now.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's we love it and it's great and it's like, I can understand why it's such a massive thing, and for us it's, it's a weird scenario because the end of an era in a weird way when you get to the draft for college football fans, and it's just like all those players that you've watched kind of going off and joining the big league and whatever else. But it does also feel like sometimes it does go on a bit, and
Yeah.
it's become a bit of a marathon of, how many mock drafts have you done since the beginning of the week, and how many of this and how many are mock drafts 370 of whatever it is, and it's just like, oh,
It's
just get
it's more
to the
Look,
commissioner already.
for me.
yeah.
It's more about the rumor mills, the constant
Oh,
who's going
Yeah.
to trade up, who's going to trade down. That's the bit that gets me because
yeah, it was
I think
interesting. So
the
go
Rams have been pushed up and down all sorts of
all
places.
over, you're yo-yoing all over the place at the Rams.
Mm.
Did you guys see the Schrager thing that came out sort of a couple of days ago, where he's kind of just gone, guys, just put your phones down.
Yeah,
Don't don't
Mm.
look at your phones during the draft. Try and go back to watching it and not seeing like the insider scoop. And he was like, it was quite interesting what he said. I don't know if you didn't see it, but it was like everybody gets the pick 90 seconds before. If you're in
Yeah,
the NFL, if you're some way related, everyone knows it 90 seconds before the commissioner walks out, at least. If you get it before that, all fair play to, go on Twitter and say you've got it 3, 5 minutes before. But I think his point was everyone gets it 90 seconds before. You're not the first. You don't have to be the one on Twitter going, I got it, put it down, watch the commissioner, try and go back to the old days of you didn't know what the pick was going to be until he said it. Why not kind
Mm.
of try and do some of that? And I was like, it was an interesting take. And it was like, because I think a couple of years ago, was it last year? Or the Penix, I think they mentioned the Penix year.
Yeah.
It was like, if you'd have just watched it and seen that happen, everyone would have been like, what have the Falcons done? But unfortunately, they were doing that like 90 seconds before the commissioner
yeah.
even came
I
out.
mean,
So it's like,
I mean,
it would have been the
we're
same for the next pick as well, wouldn't it?
yeah,
yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I would say on that note, we are doing a live draft coverage well, tonight, if you're listening to this on the day of release, the AAW are partnering up with Good Teams Win Great Teams Cover to do a live draft super show. If you have checked out, if you haven't seen it already, by the way, we've also got the first round mock draft out. All 4 podcasts are featured on it. Hurdle the Line, College Football UK, and Sportsmanlike Conduct and the Fantasy Den, all involved in some way, shape, or form. Only 8
Just
people can
Sam,
get on.
basically.
Yeah, it's Sam, the face of the network.
Yeah.
All 4 podcasts were represented. It's always great to get everyone together. And tomorrow, all 4 podcasts will be represented again. Plus, Good Teams Win Great Teams Cover in one 5 podcast, 1 super show. 4 hours from 15 minutes before the draft is due to start until the very, very last pick. We will get you through it. But what we promise is nobody, and this is the rule we've been obviously talking to Good Teams and Great Teams Cover throughout the whole process. Unless that pick has been read out on everybody's screen, we don't mention the pick yet because we're not going around ruining it for people and ruining that moment for everyone.
Yeah.
Look, we're allowed to look. Obviously, I can't stop anyone, but we can't stop anyone from looking at screens and all that sort of stuff. I will have a feed going on, but unless Goodell is on my screen reading out that pick, I'm not
Speaking of
saying
which,
anything.
on that, because didn't the AAW network put out a how to watch the NFL draft little article? So if anybody's curious
Yeah.
about how to kind of watch the draft tonight
Yeah.
or tomorrow morning, go to the AAW network.
Yeah, we've got an
UK?
article on there. We've got an article on there. I can link it in. I'll link it in the description. Just a little like it's on DAZN, it's on Sky Sports, it's on good stuff, and because it's on NFL Network, DAZN actually put that channel up for free live. So actually, if you want to,
All
if
you
you want
need
to
is
watch
an
it,
all you need is an email,
Yeah,
mate.
all you need is all you need is the DAZN account. You don't need to pay anything, and you can watch the draft for free on the NFL Network. So yeah, but please do go and check out. Please do join us tomorrow night, tonight, yesterday, whatever it is for you, live on the
Thursday night.
AAW, live
Friday morning.
live on the
Friday
AAW.
morning for
Friday
UK
morning.
fans, isn't it?
Thursday night, Friday morning, yeah.
Yeah, live on our YouTube account, live on the Good Teams Win Great Teams Cover YouTube, and on their Twitter page as well. So get involved, come and watch us. We'll help you get through the picks. I have got a damn big ass book that is full from page to page, just ready for tomorrow night. I've got facts about trees. I've got facts about attendances. I've got facts about like the 700th pick in the 1837 draft and all sorts.
I hope you've got lots of history of Pittsburgh and you know all that sort of stuff as well. You've got to throw lots of that in.
Yeah, in fact, there is a bit on Pittsburgh. There is a bit on, and also about the last time that Pittsburgh held a draft before, because they have held a draft before.
They have. This is
Anyway,
the second time.
Yeah.
Today,
It's funny though how like you keep all this knowledge in your head leading up to the draft, and then the instant it's over, like next week, I'm gonna forget
Go.
all
Go.
of this
Yeah. All these
information.
players, gone. Just all the draft, all the work, all the analysis and everything else. Come Saturday morning or Sunday morning our time, it'd be like
Just gone.
gone now. That's it.
yeah. Well,
The brain can only hold so much.
on Sunday,
Just out of interest, I know we're kind of talking, we'll obviously got our own topic, but just wondered, because obviously, again, this is a Twitter thing, and I don't want to do a Gary and put the wrong information out there. But how reliable is Dan Graziano? He's from ESPN, so I'm assuming relatively as reliable as
Reasonable, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Just
is
'cause
he
he's-
actually an ESPN correspondent or is he an ESPN contractor? Because if he's a Chrissy Freud USA Today contractor, then it's under the umbrella, but not actually an ESPN employee.
He's an NFL insider for ESPN.
Dan Graziano is legit, but if you're on Twitter, just be careful. It's not Gan Graziano, a parody account.
No, it's Dan Graziano. It's the right one. Just supposedly he's put out something that the Giants are most likely to either pick Jeremiah Love or Caleb Downs at 5, which I think is quite interesting.
Jeremiah Love, they're not putting much stock into
Jeremiah Love won't be there at 5.
He ain't going to be there at 5.
He's not
there at 5. He's getting
taken
taken at 4, isn't he, Sam? He's getting taken at 4.
He could get taken at 3.
Nah, Chiefs are all going to be at 3.
Cam Scatterby will be that meme about Tua Tagovailoa in a couple of years where it's like Cam Scatterby in the huddle's like, oh, I like buttered sausage. So, right, today we're going to go through some former Heisman winners, see how that translated to the draft and where they ended up going, how that in turn says, what can we say about the draft and how NFL teams value, I guess, some of the accolades you get in college. And then I reckon if I can predict some of the way the conversation's gonna go, how does all this translate? Right? How does it translate? We'll get into probably tape versus stats and all that sort of stuff. So before we do that, though, obviously, as is always the case, please check the links in the description to follow AAW CFB, AAW_network, and all of us in the description. Go follow us on social media. Go check out all the other things the AAW are doing. It's a big week, busy week, lots going on. Before we do that, is there any news? There are a couple of bits, I know that. Sam's supplement. We should go to Sam's supplement first.
Yeah, so the only thing that I have is that the Kentucky governor has basically been on and openly questioned the decision making of the UK athletics across the board.
That's
mainly,
University of Kentucky.
Not so
UK
University,
athletics.
Yeah, the University of Kentucky's athletics decision making, including the 7-figure gig retiring athletic director Mitch Barnhart was given as well. So he's basically gone on there and slammed them, which again, it's just more politicians
Political interference.
trying to get involved in footballing affairs, which we seem to be seeing more and more and more of, with more money being involved in college football. So, it's just another one of these things where it wouldn't be surprised if majority of these universities end up having some state funding and all of that sort of stuff directly into the college footballs and the basketballs and stuff like that, whereby they then feel like they have say over the decision making, which is worrying, but likely inevitable.
Well, it's coming from 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, isn't it? Because he seems to want to take control of everything. So
still firing executive orders around here, there, and everywhere.
And as we know, executive orders are about as useful as a chocolate teapot.
Indeed. They just create a load of noise and fuss, and stop anyone actually getting anything real done. But the problem with making it a political football, which is what he's doing, is you end up with all this fuss and you move away from actually solving the issue.
Yep. All becomes noise.
Who does
the only thing I've got from
sports?
Politics and sport. What's not to love about it? The only Gazette aspect I've got is a very homerism. Florida State have nominally named their starting QB. It's going to be the transfer from Auburn, Ashton Daniels. He's been officially named as the starter for the season over Kevin Sperry. However, the insiders and spoken about just before, the likelihood is, to be honest, the guy from junior college who's probably going to transfer in the summer, Malachi Marshall, is more than likely going to push Daniels for that starting position and may well be the starting QB 3 or 4 weeks into the season and for the future. That's how bad Florida State is.
I was going to say, depends how well they start the season or how badly they start the season.
It's a make or break season for Neville, this one. And I think also the benefit of that is that after this season, they don't have the 60 million buyout clause and So, it has to work. It has to be better. It has to be significantly better. It can't just be a one-off, we started off 3-0 and we beat Alabama. Still love the fact we did beat Alabama though, but then just tailed off and completely went nowhere. So, but some consistency. I think the best thing, get the kid out of junior college. You've got him for a few years. Give him the starting role. Don't keep with this whole constant changing of QBs dropping in and out and hoping the portal is the way forward. We've got to get back to a bit of recruiting. Downside is, how do you recruit in Miami when you've got the Gators and the University of Miami doing so much better than you, and you are in competition directly with two teams who are pretty much at different ends of the spectrum?
aren't Florida State also, there's some sort of agreement or something, there's something going on with the NIL money where it's tied
Oh,
into
we've got
something
none.
else. I can't
We've
remember
got none.
exactly
We've
what
got
it is.
literally, yeah, well, our athletics department is $420 million in debt.
That doesn't mean
That doesn't bode
much,
well
really.
in terms of, and they don't have the NIL budget that some of these other teams have got.
Yeah. I mean, but it's also whatever NIL budget you do have is tied into other. I believe it's tied into. I can't remember exactly what it is. I need to go and ask my sources in Tallahassee, and see. Excuse me, because
He does have a source in Tallahassee.
I
Though.
do have a
I've got to give
source
him
in
credit.
Tallahassee. Believe
Got
it
to
or
give him
not.
credit.
Who an actual FSU alum. So yeah, I believe it's tied in something else. Anyway, any other news, real quick, before anything else?
We got Louisiana Tech settling with Conference USA, so no longer a
Yes.
20-game schedule for this year. Just one conference is enough, and it'll be Conference USA for them. They haven't released exactly what that number looked like that had to be shuffled across the desk. I imagine it was reasonably meaningful in terms of a buyout. It might come out at some point, but yeah, a normal season for them now. They can crack on with football bit. And the only other thing for me, Nebraska announced plans to overhaul their stadium. There's a meeting in 2 days' time amongst their board of regents. So they just announced a few details. $600 million they're planning to spend redoing one side, which should be ready for 2028. So we'll hopefully we'll see the board of regents agree that and how that takes off.
Excuse
I
me.
think that was
Lovely.
it from my addendum.
Thank you very, very much. I am very disappointed we're not getting a 20-game schedule out of Louisiana Tech this year. I'm not gonna lie.
You had one job. You had one job, Louisiana Tech.
See, the thing is, right, obviously physically on the body, not very doable. But the schedule was doable from a travel point of view. From
Travel point of view,
none of the there's only one game that was on the same day, and both of them, if I can, right, I'm gonna get this up now because I know they could have done it.
Wasn't it like an East Coast, West Coast or something?
Nope.
No.
Right, I'll find it here.
Also, while he's digging into that, you're talking about the new stadium and stuff. I think somebody probably, while he's looking at that, will talk about the Virginia Tech launching their new stadium with their giant jumbotron screen.
Yeah, I don't know who gets the bill for that.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. Would it be the guys with the jumbotron and the advertising, or will it be Virginia Tech who'll have to fork the bill out for the insurance and the medical bills of the unfortunate stunt parachutist? I'm sure he must have signed a waiver, right, to fly in with that giant flag. And was he supposed to be bringing the ball in or something?
No, it was
I'm
a
not sure
flag.
if he had a ball on him. He had a flag attached to him, didn't he? And I think he was supposed to land on the pitch.
Yeah.
But then there was 2 gusts of wind.
Yeah, a gust of wind took him one way away from the field, and he's like, "I'm going to hit fans here. He's like, I'm going to land in the crowd." So he tried to veer off to a parking lot right by the stadium, and then just as he's going over the board, another gust of wind hits in the opposite direction and stops him from going, and he hits the board.
Just hangs there. Yeah.
He's a former vet, I know that. By
Yeah.
vet, I mean veteran, not veterinarian. Like he didn't
didn't sort of used to have his arm up a cow and then decide to jump out of a plane.
So he was just he did that kind of thing basically for a living since getting out of service. And I believe I saw him do an interview the next day. He was fine, bit bumped and bruised, arm in a sling, but he was okay.
Yeah. It was a wonder no one got hurt underneath him because some of the lettering came off, didn't it?
Yeah, pixels and stuff all broken off, didn't it? So yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, but chances are if you're doing a job like that, you've probably got damn good insurance at the same time. And if you're a vet, then
you've probably been through worse.
Well, there's that, but also if you're a vet who's continuing on certain paths that would have things to do with vets, they'll probably have hopefully some good insurance to get you some.
Yeah,
But
and
yeah,
hopefully the VA don't leave him hanging.
Hey.
so, 20 minutes the VT left him hanging though.
Hey, come on.
So right, going back to LA Tech, 20 game season, obviously, potentially could have been done. Every game was at least 3, maybe 4 days apart on the Conference USA schedule and on the Sun Belt schedule. Only, excuse me, the at Jacksonville State and at Troy Trojans were on the same day. Both of them in Alabama. It's a 3-hour drive apart. So you kick off, do the 12 p.m. kickoff at, say, Jacksonville State, finish the game around 2:30, 3 o'clock. You could be in Troy at about 6, maybe 6:30, kick off for 7 or 8.
Doable.
Doable with the squad. Doable with the squad.
As much as I say, like playing 2 5-a-side games in one night is not the same as playing 2 full-level college football games in one day. Like I grant that it's not the same kind of physicality on the body, but we've been there. You have to do a couple of them in a day. So let's get straight into. I wasted my trivia. I wasted my trivia on the group chat the other day.
You did.
Disappointed in myself. Tonight. So,
shot your bolt
Heisman
early.
Winners.
Oh, sorry, that's unsportsmanlike conduct.
We've really got to be careful about not getting them two mixed up. Lawyers can't deal with another podcast being on their radar. I expect they're glad I've not given them anything more on this one.
Yeah.
Heisman winners.
Night still young. Yes.
Obviously,
Heisman
this
winners.
year we've had.
Well, how far back do we want to go?
Well, let's look at the last 10. And then if anyone does have, I've got a couple of them up here from yonks and yonks ago that we could maybe mention as well, just in case. But obviously this year, Fernando Mendoza highly tipped to go first overall, unless you're listening to the Unsportsmanlike Conduct podcast, who are just like, Raiders don't even bother, forget it, get someone next year, it'll be fine.
No, remember we called it the muck draft.
The muck draft, yes, we
did. Unsportsmanlike Conduct muck draft.
Oh, but obviously, like that, the draft has technically not been yet, depending on when you're listening. This hasn't happened yet. As far as we care, this hasn't happened yet while we're recording. Last year, Travis Hunter won it and then went second overall, which, by the way, the Jags
team went and got him.
Jags gave a pretty penny to go up and get.
Jags moved up 5 spots to get him.
And have now announced that he is going to be solely cornerback.
Yeah.
So I read somewhere else that might not be actually the case.
I think he's predominantly going to be used as a cornerback.
I think predominantly, but I think he'll still be wide receiver 3. So he'll still get some offensive snaps. But
I think that was the point of the. I'm not sure I agree with it, but I think that was the point of the article, that he would see less action at wide receiver. But I just can't see the split role carrying on.
Gadget.
It's too hard in the NFL to learn the whole defensive
those
playbook
two
and
roles
an
as well.
offensive
Like
playbook.
it's not like it's a tight end and a.
It's not like a guard, but you've got some zone blocks and you've got some run blocks.
Yeah, it's hard. It's easier to do, where they're two completely different styled roles, aren't they? So I think it's sensible of Jacksonville to at
predominantly
least
or lean in to one side or the other.
And just because the thing is, he can use his knowledge and his thing from being a wide receiver to do wide receiver bits. But if you stick to what you're good at, which is being a cornerback, and then if they can bring him in to play a few trick plays, or if they need a wide receiver, that's a better way of doing it. Whereas they tried to do a dual role and that just didn't work.
Well,
and as you say, as soon as you put him on the offense, then the defense are going to be like, oh, hang on, where's Hunter? You got to watch out for him, almost as a decoy. He might free up somebody else.
Yeah, I mean, but also I think when you're looking at getting him on gadget plays, you're thinking 4th and 5. I'm thinking late game. You kind of tend to be running empty sets, and he's better as a wide receiver than the last wide receiver on your official receiver
Oh
list.
yeah,
So
Yeah,
he gives you a better opportunity to actually make that down. If wide receiver one's taken out, wide receiver two's taken out, and you've got to choose between 3 and 4 or the running backs, you
I
probably
think
you
also
want
that the
in
nat
those
the
situations.
natural, I think the way that Liam Cohen wants to play and the natural progression of, the way that they finished last year and where they're going to be next year, the point is going to be is that they probably aren't going to need him on the offense as much because they're gonna be they're arguably going to need him more defensively,
yeah.
and they'll be they have
They'll be
so many
pounding the
pieces on
rock a little bit
offense.
more, won't they?
Yeah, so I think that's more likely what it'll be rather than
Yeah,
he's not needed. It's just that he will be utilized more on the defense,
yeah,
and they'll still use him as wide receiver three, like you say, but it'll be when they're chasing a game or something, and they want a much more reliable receiver or something like
yeah.
that.
Somebody, as you say, as Fletch says, Hunter's better than your wide receiver four, so put him in your empty set and put him out there. He's got more chance of catching the
Yeah.
ball than that guy,
Yeah.
Malik
Um,
Washington or whatever the guy's name is, Parker
I'm gonna
Washington or
put
something.
I'm gonna put the next two together because they went in the
Yes.
same draft rather
Mm.
than separating them by the year they won the Heisman. Jaden Daniels and Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams won it in 22. Then Jaden Daniels won it in 23. They both went top 2 in the 24 draft.
Yeah.
And by all accounts, it was quite a flip in both the years. So first year, Caleb Williams was not very good because he played for the Bears. And then Jaden Daniels went to an NFC championship in his first year. Next
Had a
year,
rookie year to kind of die for, in effect.
yeah.
Walked into a great situation in Washington,
Well, to be
lucked into a good run. So other teams didn't have a great year, took full advantage,
but
showed our
then,
balled out, and then
yeah. But also, it was one of them, I think, with Jaden Daniels. Yeah, you just kind of caught lightning in a bottle, but also you just had CJ Stroud, who comes into the NFL, just has a blistering first year, but then it tails off, and everyone remembers he's an Ohio State quarterback, so he's terrible.
Yep.
Then Jaden Daniels, but then second year, Jaden Daniels has a year to forget. Caleb
I think the
Williams,
Washington Commanders as a whole had a year to forget the amount of
yeah,
injuries and
but yeah,
They
he,
were
key
absolutely
pieces that they
decimated, weren't
lost.
they?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean even Jaden Daniels, I think he only played what, like seven
Or
games.
6 games. So it was only
So
half the season, if that wasn't it. Yeah.
yeah,
So yeah, it's a tough one. It's a tough one to balance. But as you say, Caleb Williams' second year came on leaps and bounds and started to show the stuff that we saw when he was at USC. Well, the Heisman year at USC, the senior year at USC was not
Ropey, wasn't
a bit ropey. It was a bit pressurized, and the USC was kind of in transition, and he was getting a lot of, he's going to be the number one pick, and he's going to be there,
no,
there, and thereabouts. I think it was a bit turned his head a bit, didn't it? And he got a load of
well,
grief about the fact he wore nail varnish and whatever else, didn't he?
yeah,
it? Yeah.
couldn't give two craps about that. That's not even worth it. Like the nail varnish stuff. He never did his senior year. He was a
And did
not a
he go
rookie.
sophomore,
He was
Not
junior,
freshman
junior.
in Oklahoma and then sophomore and junior year at
USC, and then went straight
USC.
to the draft?
He
Okay.
won the Heisman in his sophomore year, and then it was his junior year where he saw the problems. But at the same time, the USC O line that year was horrendous.
Yeah, they
yeah. I
lost
mean,
So
five. They lost five starters in the year before, didn't they?
yeah,
Basically. So yeah. And then the year before, we had Tiny Bryce Young.
I think the one thing to mention though, in terms of looking at the last 3 years, in terms of Travis Hunter, we can't exactly. I know there's very little we can say about him so far. I think in terms of like jury's out, probably still on him.
Mhm.
I would probably say that Jaden Daniels and Caleb Williams so far have looked like successes in terms of, transferring over from the Heisman Trophy to the pick to the where they are now.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think that they've about made their value.
They broke even at least. I think
Solid
Williams has now
NFL
broke even.
quarterbacks.
I think Williams, after this season, the first season, everyone, but then again, as we've said, when you're a Heisman winner and you go number one in the draft, you're generally going to a pretty shocking team.
Yeah. Didn't he have to deal with hard knocks in that first season as well?
Yeah.
He did, didn't he?
Yeah.
So
I think the thing with Caleb in that first year is he was
hero balling a lot, wasn't he?
Yeah, but it was also it just wasn't the right setup. Like everything, they tried to give him a load of pieces, but had the way that they were coaching it was just terrible.
Yeah.
And then obviously, Ben Johnson came in last year, fixed the O-line, which was the first thing that he does wherever he goes, and
strange enough,
and makes it. And you saw a completely different Caleb Williams because he was actually able to. I mean, yes, we still saw some hero ball. If we talk about the playoffs, but it still worked out for him.
The thing that consistently gets me about Caleb Williams is that he looks at his best when playing hero ball, and he looks like he's lost when playing actual football from the pocket. You give him a clean pocket, give him those 4, 5, 6 seconds to throw, whatever it was that we said a couple of years ago. Give him that time to throw and say, right, okay, you've got a running back in the flat there. He's wide open. Throw it to him. That's going nowhere. That's an incompletion.
Does he not remind you of Theo Walcott? Like, if he uses his brain,
there's a reference.
If he uses his brain, he's all over the place. But if he instinctively plays football, he's
doesn't
very,
think about
very
it.
good.
I was going to go back further and say someone like Andy Cole, where instinctively, as a striker, if he could just make a snapshot, it would go in. Whereas
Kai Havertz, more recent,
through on goal, too much time.
Yeah, it starts to think about it. Starts to try and think about the perfect finish, and then just skies it.
Darwin Núñez, very good example of that.
There you go, Darwin Núñez, perfect. If you can hit him off his knee, if you can put it off his leg or whatever else, but he has to think about it, then it's going to the corner flag rather than the corner of the goal.
Yeah, I must say, I just think you put Aaron Donald, Myles Garrett, TJ Watt, Aiden Hutchinson all barreling down at him with no protection, he will launch a 70-yard bomb that goes in for a touchdown. Because under, like you say, it's instinct.
Especially if it's against the Chicago. Oh, wait, hang on. It was against Chicago, that crazy Hail Mary, wasn't it? Sorry, I was thinking.
Yeah. But I said, but it's just you just don't let him think. You just got to do the thing, and it's street football.
I think he's got to play backyard football, as they call it, isn't it? Just don't think about it. Don't think about this, that, and the other. That's how coaching has to just unlock that of don't think about it, Caleb. If you see it, if you read it, if it's the reads there and you see it, throw it. Don't try and go, I've got to go through my reads. I've got to go through my progressions. I've got to get to my 4 tight. I've got to check the tight ends. By the time he's done that, as you say, he's got no time. Somebody's smashing him.
It's just all about instinctive football for him, and that's how Ben Johnson's going to get the best out of him. But I just think I do still think there is a little bit of the jury's out on Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels, but I think they've done enough to justify their pick and the fact that they've won the Heisman from that. Whereas I think Bryce Young's
an interesting
it's a weird one, because if you go based upon the first 2-3 seasons,
2-3 seasons, way overreached, terrible pick.
Yeah. But then if you look at last year, I mean, he started off awfully, but then all of a sudden he decided to start turning it on.
Yeah.
Or was it that he finally had enough pieces around him, and finally the Carolina Panthers stopped being an organization that was consumed? I mean, they picked number one for 3 years in a row or something, didn't they? Near enough. So, or they had first and second picks or something. They were stupidly bad.
Yeah. Well, they didn't have the number one pick for the Jane Daniels year, did we? Because Caleb Williams year, because they traded it away.
Yeah. To go and get Bryce Young.
Yeah. And didn't they take that off the Bears as well?
yeah, or
But they
gave it
got
to the bet
DJ Moore in return.
something. Yeah, it was something crazy, wasn't it? But I think he's a great one because you say 2 or 3 seasons, you're looking at going, oh, he's too short, and he's an Alabama QB that never progresses into the NFL.
Mm.
But the end of last season, when he started to hit, Ted McMillan, and he started to kind of pick up, and the team itself just seemed to kind of get into a groove. He suddenly started to look, okay, and maybe he's got it. And he's also in a shockingly bad division, so he should probably step on this year. Because who else has he got to play against in the
I don't
NFC
know.
South?
I think the Saints are going to look a lot better this year. I think, but they should do. Not necessarily
I
they
think
will.
so. With Tyler Shock,
Tyler
Yeah,
Shock.
I mean, he started to look very good as well.
that
That
no,
first
I suppose
Bryce,
the Falcons could be the.
yeah, that first season he had in 2023 with the Panthers. Looking at something here, he got sacked 62 times.
Mm.
And then that improved 24-25, it was 29-27 times. So they started
That's
looking after him,
massively
and
different,
then it's
isn't it?
improved.
Yeah,
I mean, they
62
lost
times in
sacks,
18 games.
lost 477 yards, lost on those 62 sacks.
I mean,
He had no chance, did he? He had literally no chance to survive.
One of the things, though, I think is important here is the fact that his first year he had Frank Reich as his head coach, who got fired 2/3 of the way through the season. Second year he had Dave Canales, who he wasn't a normal coordinator hire. He was a couple of jumps up, wasn't he?
Yeah,
He wasn't a
jumped
coordinator. He
massively,
jumped up
didn't
at least two spots in the
Was he
ladder.
a positional coach or something and ended up
Yeah.
being a
But I've grown to really, really. Oh no, he was offensive coordinator for the Bucks for 1 year. But I've grown to really, really, really like Dave Canales. I think what he's done with the Panthers, he's still not capitalized on the fact that that is a poo-poo division in the NFL. And how you can go to the final game of the season and actually it was the
Still have
Saints
3 teams.
Falcons. You're up against the Bucks for the number one place in the division. You play the Bucks in week 18, and yet it's the Saints and the Falcons game that decides the division. Was just
and you
crazy.
lose to the Bucks anyway.
You lose,
but
it was crazy. But then again, you can say the same about the AFC South, right? AFC South is also like a division that should have been sewn up by one of those teams and hasn't been for a long time.
But at least last year, the Jags
Anyway, why are we
actually
talking about
were
the
for a
NFL?
chunk of it the real deal.
Yeah.
And the Colts were for half of it. If you go listen to the Unsportsmanlike Conduct, there's a fantastic start again of the Colts season, and a trade that took place for 2 first-round picks that got as many wins last season as first-round picks traded for. But no, I like Dave Canales. I like what he's doing with the Panthers, and I think Bryce Young has unfortunately been put in that situation where yes, he's short. And if we go back again to the Unsportsmanlike Conduct podcast, sorry, it's fresh on my mind because it was an hour ago.
Literally half an hour ago.
An hour ago, 2 hours ago that you're recording it. You're talking about I hate it when we go through these measurements and those measurements, and why are we arguing about half an inch there and half an inch there?
Arm length we're talking about there, Sam, before you start to worry about.
I did gather that.
Just to
I didn't think it was going to be anything else.
But
you never know with that podcast.
Why are we arguing about it? Why are we putting forward these stats? Why do they matter? They do matter, but they matter within context, right? Short quarterbacks, it matters that they're short or short in comparison to other NFL quarterbacks, but it's relative in comparison to
relative to their offensive line is why we
relative to their offensive line, to the weapons put around them, to the scheme around. Like every quarterback is good relative to the environment that they're in. So
system QBs, eh, Sam?
Bryce Young has been unfortunately put in them positions, in the position of terrible pieces around him, thrown into a terrible organization. Sorry, Keg, if you listen to this one. And it's just been in a bad position. You then get rid of the coach, you then get a head coach come in who's a first year head coach, and you have to deal with a lot of that and getting him warmed up into the. He only had 1 year as an offensive coordinator, which is relatively unheard of. You normally have 2-3 years as a coordinator under your belt first. It's just not been an easy ride for him, and only this year did they get him real weapons. Obviously, they've had Xavier Legette, but they go getting Ted McMillan. They've only just started to really put the pieces around him now, and it's a long way. We've gone a long way about it, but this is why I can't count Bryce Young out, because he's just been thrown out of the fire pit into the fire.
Yeah.
Constantly.
I think this is one thing that I've said for years that rookie QB should not be starting in their first season as a QB in the NFL, because I think Bryce Young is a perfect example of someone who shouldn't be starting, or who shouldn't have started and should have been given time to develop. I think Cam Ward's in a very similar position. I think when a team is that bad that they shouldn't be just solely relying on the QB one out of the
QB face of the future. I mean, they call them the QB face of the future. It should be the face of the future, not the face of the franchise right now, because the reason you picked him right now is you were bad. And one person isn't going to change that.
Well, given everything we've talked about, I mean, he's 24 at the moment. That's no age at all. And
barely
everything
got
he's already
started,
seen, everything he's had to put up with, still such a young age.
I suppose physically and even mentally, he's still got to grow up, hasn't he? So I think it's just as a little. I know that obviously Fletch likes to do his trivia, but I have got a bit of trivia for this next guy we're going to talk about, which is obviously Devontae Smith. Before Devontae Smith, who was the last wide receiver to win the Heisman Trophy? And what
long way back? It was a long way back, wasn't it?
Without looking, ideally, if you can.
Marvin Harrison?
Miami.
Calvin Johnson?
No, Calvin Johnson never won it.
Didn't win it, did he?
Put it like this: it was nearly 30. It was nearly 30 years ago before the 2021 he won.
I think I know it. And I should know it. If it's who I think it is, I should know it.
You should know it. Yeah.
That would be the Desmond Howard who won it in. Is it 91?
91, yeah.
91.
As a wide receiver and punt returner.
See, I knew he was a wide receiver. I knew he'd won it, but I couldn't remember if he was the last one before Devontae Smith. Because he brings it up. Obviously, he brings it up a lot on College Game Day.
So he was the last. He was the last one to win it as a wide receiver. Obviously, technically, Travis Hunter wins it. It was the year after also won it. So he isn't the most recent wide receiver to win it, but he is. The one before him was 30 years prior. So just shows you again, if you're going to talk about Heisman Trophy winners, it's very much, in my opinion, similar to the MVP. It's which QB is the best with the odd running back thrown in there.
Yeah, in college, it's the running backs that just tend to have those seasons where you're like, whoa. Ashton Genty.
Just blows up, doesn't it?
This year, there's the Jeremiah Loves,
Derrick Henry.
Derrick Henry.
But Derrick Henry did actually win it, though, didn't he?
He did, 2015.
Because he was so good, though, wasn't he?
And then before him, you had like Mark Ingram.
Yep, you had Mark
Ingram, Reggie Bush.
Reggie Bush,
Heisman.
Ricky Williams. Well, I want to. Can we take 1 second to stop out and just?
I was trying to shoot Ricky Williams into the unsportsmanlike contact.
We need Ricky Williams needs a couple. There's a couple of things to do with Ricky Williams. Obviously, one, his insane advocacy for. Oh, I say insane advocacy. That's the incorrect
420.
420. It was Ricky Williams Day a couple of days ago, but. Let's not forget, as far as the draft goes, very few greater draft moments than the Saints trading away their entire draft.
Everything. Absolutely everything.
Get Ricky. Plus half of the next draft to get Ricky Williams, who played for him for 2 years and did niche.
And then they
spent a lot of time smoking.
They sent him off to the what was it, the
Miami?
Dolphins?
Did he go to
Yeah,
Miami?
to the
Yeah,
Dolphins.
Which is like the worst place you could have sent somebody.
And,
Send
and
him
then
to
and then
Miami.
and then he ended up at the Toronto Argonauts. He went to CFL. He was that bad.
This,
And
He
they came
wasn't
back.
that bad. The thing is, he wasn't that bad. He was just high.
I mean,
But
his
like-
career statistics, he had 10,000 yards, 66 touchdowns, and 2,600 yards receiving and 8 receiving touchdowns. So it's not the worst stats in the world, is it?
Nothing to sniff
you're
at, isn't
thinking-
it? But he could
You
have
think-
what
you
he
think-
could have, right?
you're
It's one of those,
thinking-
isn't it?
You're thinking, because it was Mike Ditka at the time, wasn't it? The legendary Bears coach, Mike Ditka, who was like, no, I
Went
want
to
Ricky
New
Williams and I
Orleans,
will do
didn't he?
literally anything. I will give up my... Because for weeks he was saying it up until the draft. He was like, I will give up my entire draft class just to get Ricky Williams in this building. And he
And everyone
meant
thought he
it.
was talking rubbish, and he literally sold
And he
everything. Sold
traded
the...
with the now Commanders.
Yeah.
And you're thinking, oh, they've got 2 full draft classes here in one draft. They're gonna be brilliant, and then they were terrible. Just
It was
no
awful.
one won out of that. No one.
So unlike the Herschel Walker trade, this was a trade that didn't work for either team, was it?
Yeah. Anyway, going back
There's
to
a bit of NFL history for those.
today. Going back to
Devontae
today's one.
Smith.
Going back to Devontae Smith.
Devontae Smith.
I
Devontae
think
Smith
he-
is an interesting one. Is that a bust, would you call, or would you...
No, I think if you think he got taken at 10, and I think he's probably not. I suppose if
He's
you
not
take
been in the
him-
right position, has he? He's not been in the right situation. He's not in
Well, I
not
don't
an
know.
organisation that gives him dollars
He was
this
at,
year.
he was at the Eagles. He was at the Eagles and was their wide receiver 1 until they brought in AJ Brown,
Yeah.
and he's been instrumental to them winning Super Bowls.
Yep.
So I think he's
player,
more than earned his value back in terms of the fact that they've got a Super Bowl and he was integral
He
to
was.
that run. So
I think
He's
he's
prob-
going to have a good year this year, though, because I think AJ Brown, if they do ship him out, I think Devontae Smith takes a step.
he becomes the number
back.
1. Yeah.
So, but I mean, you look at who went
I know
before
you-
him in that draft, right? That was the Trevor Lawrence draft.
2020.
Trevor Lawrence going number 1 overall, and Zach Wilson. Trey Lance.
Trevor Lawrence, the generational QB, who, again, as you talked about, Bryce Young got absolutely stymied in the Jags. Walked into an absolute
Yeah.
show of
Head coach
Brown
that was
stuff.
fondling women in bars and kicking
Oh,
kickers.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's the one. Yeah, the one who should never be anywhere near any professional football ever again.
Yeah, I was saying this before he was
Mhm.
ever in the NFL for
Should never have been
reasons
anywhere near
totally
them. But
unbeknown
so
to any.
I give Trevor Lawrence a bit of a part. I mean, he's starting to come good now, but I think his development got absolutely battered by the mess that the Jags were when he walked into it. I mean,
Liam
he
Collins.
is, and he still looks, yeah. And now he's getting better, but at the time, everyone was like, he is the new, great white hope for the NFL, and unfortunately walked into an
Great
absolute.
white hope.
I mean, he is like, he's got the hair, he's got
No,
the
no, no.
looks. He is,
Yeah.
The true great white hope that came out of college into the NFL in recent years was Cooper DeJean. Like,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Dylan Tielemans this
completely
year.
revived the white defensive back. And then as I keep pushing the agenda, Dylan Thieneman coming back to really bring back the white defensive back.
Yeah.
Anyway, but you
Just
see,
as
you go
long
back
as
to that
it's not.
draft.
Oh, what's the guy's name now? He's an absolute liability at corner.
Go back to the draft. It's Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, Trey Lance, Kyle Pitts, Jamar Chase, Jalen Waddle, Penei Sewell, J.C. Horn, Patrick Surtain, and then Devontae Smith.
That's a
Like-
hell of a draft year, wasn't it?
Jeez, that was a good year, wasn't it?
Um,
Oh, there's 10
Is-
Hall of Famers there.
10.
You
Zach
sure?
Wilson going into the Hall of Fame.
Sorry, 9. I forgot Wilson was in there. He's not-
Right,
yeah.
no.
Sorry,
no,
run
no.
them through again.
Not
Sorry,
9.
Trey
so
Lance.
Trey Lance.
Trevor Lawrence,
Trey
Zach
Lance.
Wilson.
Trey Lance was a Hall of Fame draft bust, almost the opposite way. Yeah, but
Yeah.
6 or 7 of those are high quality players.
But no, I mean, most of them, they are Pro Bowlers, they are All Pros, they are
Mhm.
very, very good players. So, and even then, you see Devontae Smith was the wide receiver, like the Heisman winning wide receiver. 2 wide receivers went before him in the draft.
Yeah.
Because, and this is where I said at the start, this is the way some of this conversation is probably going to go. Success in college doesn't always translate to that's what the NFL team needs. You might be a slightly different build to what an NFL team needs or wants, what GM's like. You might just
Yep.
fit into culture a little bit better. And that's not a slight
Just
at
scheme
Devontae
fit, isn't it?
Smith.
Yeah.
Game for it, yeah.
It's not a slight at Devontae Smith, but Jamar Chase is one of the top two receivers in the league, in my opinion. Jalen Waddle was part of arguably the best wide when Tyreek Hill was actually good. The Dolphins
Then
had
Tua
Hill
wasn't concussed.
I
and
think
Tua.
I'd probably say Jalen Waddle's the best wide receiver two in the league.
Yeah.
I would say,
Quite
or at
possibly,
least
yeah.
up there.
Quite possibly. But when Tua was healthy, when Tyreek Hill had just come over from the Chiefs and was
Mm.
just impeccable, and you had Jalen Waddle, that was
And
arguably
Raheem
the
Morris,
best.
Raheem Mostert, still
Yeah, but that
scorching.
was arguably
Mostert was
the
scorching the running backs. Yeah.
you could argue best wide receiver tandem in the league at the time.
Yeah.
I
Mm.
mean,
Should have done
they did
more with it.
nothing with it, but best tandem in the league as a
I mean,
duo.
didn't they score 70 on Denver and then just did nothing else for the rest of the season?
Yeah,
Pretty much.
that would yeah. But it just goes to show winning the Heisman, especially if you're not a quarterback, does not necessarily translate to number one
Mm.
Yeah.
overall picks.
No.
But yeah, the Devontae Smith at Alabama that year was insane, though. His stats and what he did at Alabama was absolutely mental.
Yeah. It's
Mm.
So,
interesting.
I mean,
The voters that year obviously were a little bit torn as well because I think he won by 66%,
66.8.
16%.
67%.
It wasn't like a.
It wasn't an
It wasn't
83,
like a complete.
88%.
It was definitely him. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Going on to the year after,
Or the
well,
year
the year
before.
before, Joe
Great White Hope.
Burrow.
Not bad. Not bad.
That was. Is that the best? Because you wouldn't have had a national champion,
Yeah.
Heisman winner,
Yeah.
number one overall pick, and you look at that entire LSU roster from that national championship year, that reads like an all-pro list in
Stacked.
the NFL.
It reads like the 2000, was it 2001 Miami team? 2004.
Mm-hmm. It was 2001.
2001 or 2000, I think it was 2001, wasn't it? Where it was just Pro Bowl after All Pro after, it was just stacked. It's been voted almost like the best college team ever. That LSU team with Joe Burrow was up there because didn't he have JJ as a wide receiver at
He had
LSU?
Jamar Chase
Yeah.
and Justin
And
Jefferson.
Justin Jefferson. Jeez.
He had Clyde Edwards-Helaire in the backfield.
Tight
I mean,
end was
even on the
not relevant,
defense,
but
even on the defense, Derek Stingley Jr., Rashard Lawrence, Grant Delpit, Patrick Queen, just stacked. It was
it's
stacked.
just literally an NFL team in college, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
NFL team in weighing.
It's an unbelievable team that they built there. So like, and then obviously the final piece being Joe Burrow behind center.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
With the cigar and everything else. Yeah, I mean, I still remember it. Sitting there winning the Natty, sitting in the locker room, that picture of him with the big cigar, just going, Joe Cool. He's never going to be Joe Cool. There's only ever one Joe Cool, but that was a pretty good picture. Fair play. I mean, he was, that LSU team was stacked, but he elevated it and he did deserve the Heisman that year.
Yeah.
Interestingly, to the point we just made about the year before, the next LSU player in that really stacked team went out 20th. It was Kayvon Chase on the defensive end.
Yeah.
Just proving the point again that when it comes to the actual draft position needs, what teams want, fit.
Yeah. I mean, we go on a run because again, it's another run of quarterback after quarterback after quarterback. We've got Kyler Murray after that. after Joe Burrow because I don't think too much needs to be said. And everyone knows the career that Joe Burrow's had in the league, how he's been failed by the Bungles so many times. There's a
So
reason they're
bad.
called the Bungles.
So
But
bad.
so
Please,
go
God,
on,
Bungles. Just get Joe
Kyler
Burrow
Murray.
a decent. All I want to say, as a non-AFC fan, the Bungles just have to get Joe Burrow a halfway decent defense. Halfway. That's all they is halfway decent.
Oh, stop trying to kill him.
Or stop trying to kill him. But even
Because
even though he gets killed, he's still good enough to get through that.
so good. And I just feel like the front office idea is, well, if we can't have him, no one else will have him.
Yeah, we'll just break him to death. We'll just
Yeah.
smash him to pieces. Nobody else can have him. But
So
just give him a halfway decent defense and one decent blocker to hide behind. Because he deserves to get to a Super Bowl.
yeah. Anyway, moving on to
Right?
Kyler Murray. We've got Kyler Murray who won the Heisman before Joe Burrow. What needs to be said about him, really?
Tiny short guy, runs around, plays a lot of Call of Duty. Did really well in a good team at Oklahoma. It has been found out. A great athlete, probably should have gone the baseball route.
MLB.
Yeah.
MLB.
He would have been a much better shortstop than he is NFL QB.
Yeah, I mean, Kyler Murray.
And would have probably made more money, quite frankly.
Probably.
MLB. You end up with 15 years, 150 million year contracts in the MLB, don't you? And you still get paid when you're 60.
Yeah, I mean, I think to be fair, as far for Kyler Murray, I pinned my colours to that mask way too soon and way too deeply. I genuinely thought he was gonna have such a great career and be a genuinely very, very, very good quarterback in the league. I mean, the Cardinals haven't helped themselves. He never helped himself.
Nope. I mean, the problem with Kyler Murray, and he will never shake this off. Was it 2-3 seasons ago when it all came out about his contract renewal, where they had to write in that he has to spend 20 hours studying like a naughty school kid. You must do 20 hours of study.
Look at all the stuff that came out. He was constantly being mocked for just being on COD all the time.
Yeah.
He wasn't doing what he should be. Then, there was all the stuff that he might leave the NFL to go back to try and do both baseball and NFL. And there was just a lot. There's always been this kind of,
he's never really been fully in it, has he?
No, there's always been a mockery about him as well. Obviously, with his height, his scrambling insanity. I think sometimes it was capability. Sometimes
insanity. Sometimes it looks amazing. Sometimes it just looks like a headless chicken. Yeah.
Yeah, especially when he's getting chased by men that are like 10 times as big as him, and it's
it is comedy moments. It is comedy, isn't it? Sometimes.
Yeah.
But again, that's not his fault for being, the stature he is. But he's not helped himself with the off-field stuff and the news and everything else that's come about.
It doesn't get more comedy though than this season in the Titans game when he had to get pulled out in the third quarter with a concussion because he wasn't paying attention to the center snapping the ball and got hit in the face with a football and got taken out with a concussion for concussion protocol because he got hit in the face by a football.
It just goes to show you how he was well liked by his teammates if the center is snapping the ball that hard into his face.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to say about that one. But hey, it's okay for the Cardinals. They've got Minshew Mania this year.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing is you want him out so badly that you're willing to say, look, we just don't want to take a risk. You've been hit in the head by an object. We just want to check you. Anything to get him out.
Anything to pull him.
You have now. Get out. Yeah, concussion protocol.
It's just been get in the blue tent.
Baker Mayfield.
And then you flip it, right. You've got Kyler Murray from Oklahoma the 1 year, right? Who literally took over Baker Mayfield's team and did well with it. And you've got a QB who's run around the NFL, who everyone's kind of gone, what's going on, blah, blah, blah. And then you got Baker, who, let's be honest, I think everyone has a soft spot for Baker Mayfield. Even if he's on a team that's going against you and Sam, you've probably got an even softer spot than most people because he kind of came in and helped you guys out for a few seasons,
we
a few
revived his
games.
career.
Yeah,
we revived his career
because he absolutely went to the Browns, and God forbid anyone who's got any sort of talent goes to the Browns. You got to feel for them, because if there's anywhere that an NFL career and talent goes to die, it's Cleveland.
Yeah. And he was there
Somehow,
a while again. I didn't realize he'd done 4 seasons there.
Yeah, he did. He stuck out his full rookie contract, and then they just screwed him. Pretty much screwed him.
Wasn't it his final season there? He got into the playoffs as well.
Yep, finally got them back to the
game,
playoffs. One game in the playoffs. Suddenly, that was the Browns were back, and he was going to be it. And then they just shafted him and didn't give him a contract, and just said, "No, we're going to go and get." Was that the Deshaun Watson? Was that no?
It might have been, yeah.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, they went and traded for Deshaun Watson.
I mean, well, and enough said about that. The better, but yeah, I feel for Baker because he's gutsy. He's got it, hasn't he? He's just that kind of quarterback that any team you can see them rally around. They can see what he's about. As you say, Sam, he went from the Browns to the Panthers. Panthers are shocking. Moved out of there.
He didn't really play for the Panthers too much.
No, because they had Sam Darnold at the time, didn't they, or something?
Yeah.
He went to the Panthers for a year, but then during that year, he joined us because we needed a quarterback.
Yeah, an emergency sort of came in, literally flew in from Carolina, picked up your playbook, and played 3 days later or something, didn't he? And didn't he win you your Thursday night game or something, wasn't it?
We beat the Raiders that game. It was a really shit game still, but we beat the Raiders. I think it was still beat the Raiders, 10 or something, because he threw his first touchdown to win us the game.
After walking in the door 3 days before or something.
Yeah, and the thing is, it was a difficult situation for him at the Rams, because that was the year when we were on our 14th different version of our O-line and stuff like that, and it was the first year that we'd seen, I suppose, from a Rams perspective, the so heavily used the rollout play and the play action style quarterback, because obviously we had Stafford before that. He was never going to be playing too well, even though he was doing it a lot. But no, it was
traded
Goff. It was the year after we won the Super Bowl, wasn't it? And Stafford went down injured and early, and we lost.
Everybody.
Yeah,
you lost everybody, didn't you?
Well, the O line was just absolutely decimated. We just kept we went 15 weeks.
Did you go 0-7 or something from the outset or something? Was that the year you went post Super Bowl hangover?
Yeah, it was. We finished the season 5-12, but we were on out I think it was only until week 15 were we able to field the same O-line.
Same O-line, one week after the other. Yeah,
we went 14 weeks solid of having a different O-line 5 every single week. And we lost Stafford early. I think Cup got injured as well. I think he even started the season injured. And it was, it just wasn't a good year for us in general.
Bad. Yeah.
But that was obviously either the last or second last year of Donald as well. So I think so. It might have been the second to last year. I think
second to last year with Donald. You had one more year of him. And it wasn't at the last year of your. No, it wasn't your last year of your centre either, was it? Whenever it was Whitworth,
Whitworth. No, he left after the Super Bowl.
But Baker's the prime example of he just needed to find his spot. Because now he's found it at the Bucs. He's bounced around. He's got the bruises, and he's got a lot of bruises from Cleveland and everywhere else. But he's thriving in a situation at the Bucs. The Bucs have kind of gone, "You're our guy. You can go and do bakery things." And I know you probably hate him from a Texas perspective and the Oklahoma link, Sam. But he was in your face. He was right there. He's planting the flag on your stadium and all that sort of stuff. He's a pain in the backside, but he's the kind of guy you want behind center. He's the kind of guy you want in the huddle. He's the kind of guy who's not going to let a team slack. He's going to drive every single player on that team forward. and I think he's massively improved the Bucks when he's got there and he's found his spot. I do think he's still bitter and he's still playing with a chip on his shoulder because of what Cleveland did to him. And I think he plays better when he's angry. I mean,
yeah, but yeah, I think it's another one of those where I think he, like we've seen with a lot of the QBs, they just need a bit of time or to find the right team that suits them.
And as we said in the pod yesterday, the NFL is not a development league. You just get bounced around, you get bounced out of a league, you get bounced out of a team. Eventually you find your spot and you get experienced enough just through hardship rather than developing. And I think Baker's a prime example.
The guy who won it the year before, Baker Mayfield, this is probably your perfect example of a Heisman Trophy winner who didn't go to a bad team and has absolutely thrived.
He's absolutely
he hasn't won a Super Bowl, but he's twice MVP
he's done
winner.
Pretty much everything else he should have done by now. His team has been a bit,
certainly justified that Heisman, didn't he?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But as Sam says, he managed to luck into going to a team that I can't quite work. How did he manage to get to Baltimore?
It was the 32nd pick.
32nd pick. That's what I was going to say. Was like he goes 32nd overall, and you go through the trend before him.
Who went before him?
Going from Travis Hunter at second, first, 10th, first, 32nd.
32nd.
And that draft, 2018
you're looking at it,
and
you go, 2016 draft must have been awesome then, right?
That was the year Baker Mayfield
draft. Yeah.
He came. You had Baker Mayfield, Saquon Barkley, Sam Darnold, Josh Allen was the 7th overall pick. You had the likes of Denzel Ward, Bradley Chubb, Roquan Smith.
Rosen went before.
Josh Rosen. Josh Rosen was the next big thing, wasn't he?
Who was the other? There was and then Lamar Jackson was the 32nd pick at the Baltimore Ravens. So
from Philly.
Yeah.
Well, obviously that was the Philly pick because the Philly had just beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl.
So they traded.
It got that pick from
Baltimore
Philly.
Will trade back in for it then.
But yeah, I mean, granted, obviously, clearly teams, and again, it also comes down to other players in his position have gone first as well, and before him.
But again, I suppose Lamar Jackson was always viewed as a running back that threw the ball a little bit, wasn't he?
I think the thing with this year's draft was it wasn't a year of needing needing a quarterback as much. If you look back at the teams that had quarterbacks at that point, the Cleveland Browns obviously needed one. They took one at one.
Cleveland Browns.
Yeah.
The Jets obviously wanted one or needed one. They took one. The Bills
did every year for the Jets, though, right?
But like all the other teams, you probably look around. Like the Giants at the time didn't really need a quarterback. Would you say?
Didn't they? Did they have Jameis Winston?
Yeah, they traded.
This was back in 18. Manning was still around then, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Was he? Just.
He was at the end of his career, wasn't he?
Yeah.
2018. Sorry, Sam. Was it the 2018 New York Giants? Had quarterbacks Kyle Lauletta, Eli Manning, and Alex Tanney on the roster.
Yeah, so they still had Eli.
Not around. Did a year or so then.
He went Jets first, didn't he?
He was Jets.
Didn't the Jets drafted Gino, didn't they?
Jets took Sam Darnold the same year as they took Baker.
Yeah.
And then obviously the next pick was the Cleveland Browns. They didn't need it. They got their quarterback. The Broncos would have had
Tim Tebow? No. Who did they have?
They would have Peyton Manning at the time, weren't they?
Peyton?
Peyton.
Might have been,
Peyton was hanging around still then?
Go back to the roster.
The Colts at that time, didn't they have Andrew Luck?
The Colts, maybe just, but the Broncos had Case Keenum and Kevin Hogan.
And Case Keenum was a first round pick because he'd come out of college
first round a year before. Yeah, he was a good college QB.
Colts had Jacoby Brissett and Andrew Luck.
Yeah. So again, they weren't going to draft anyone. The Bills picked up Allen. The Bears probably could have, but they decided to go with Roquan Smith. The Niners would have had 2018 Brock
Garcia.
Alex Smith went. No, Alex Smith went.
Alex Smith was
Oh,
Do you
sorry, I
know-
thought you talked about Alex Smith being picked up. Sorry.
Cap. 20. When we talking? 2018.
2018.
2018.
I would say Cap was nearly out the league by then. We weren't far off from him
Yeah.
being out the league.
Jimmy not there at that point?
No. No, we were in a horrible situation. Garcia, maybe.
Niners
Okay.
2018.
But then obviously you had
CJ Beathard
Beathard.
CJ
and
Beathard,
Mullins.
CJ Beathard,
Mullins.
and Mullins. We were bad.
So
Yeah.
you probably could
Mullins.
have done with a quarterback, but you went with an OT instead. Josh Rosen obviously went to the Cardinals. The Dolphins would have had.
Oh,
Oh, who did the Dolphins have in 18?
David Foles,
Tannehill.
Brock Osweiler, and Ryan Tannehill.
Fitzpatrick. Where was Fitz?
Oh,
at this
Ryan.
point?
Yeah, they had Tannehill. They
Tannehill.
picked up
Tannehill, yeah.
Tannehill.
Where was Fitz at
Um,
this point? Fitz would have been floating around somewhere.
Fitz Magic could have
Was
been
it the
anywhere at
Jets,
that
wasn't
point.
it?
I mean, did you see it? I don't know if you saw it the other day. That that
The
square that
immaculate
floats
grid.
around the immaculate grid. It was basically the Fitzmaculate grid. It was basically a team where it was a whole grid where he could have fitted everywhere. Beautiful.
Yeah, I mean the Redskins, didn't they have?
RG3, didn't they?
Nope, Mark Sanchez and Josh Johnson.
Mark
Cool.
Yeah.
Mark Sanchez, the butt fumble. Oh,
No,
RG3 had busted his knee by then, hadn't he?
Saints obviously had Drew Brees, so they weren't going
Brees,
to take
so-
quarterback.
It was
The Raiders had. Did they have Derek Carr at this point?
No. Carr moved from the Saints to go to the Raiders.
No,
So
they
Carr
did.
was
They
after
did.
the Breeze.
Did.
Did
They
they?
did.
Yeah, he
2018,
went from
2018
the
Derek
Raiders.
Carr.
Yeah, he was at the
Wow.
Raiders, and then he moved to the Saints, and
Moved-
then
didn't
he
go
sorry,
to
he
the-
went the other way. Yeah.
dropped
It was
off.
only a couple of years ago we went to the Saints. It weren't even that long. Well, it was that
Yeah.
long ago, but like only in the last few years.
Black and gold, black and silver, it all kind of blends.
Chargers at that point would have had Phillip Rivers, probably.
Rivers
Probably,
still
yeah.
knocking
Yeah.
around.
Packers
was
And
obviously
awesome.
Geno Smith.
and Geno. Packers obviously had their guy,
Bob, Love, Rogers, Love,
Rodgers. In 2018 would have been Rodgers.
Bob, Love.
The
Everyone's about-
Lions had Staff.
Yep.
The Cowboys had. Oh, who did the Cowboys have in 2018? Is that still
That'd been
Dak?
Dak. Sure,
Yeah,
that'd been
Dak. Yeah,
Still Dak. He's been around a longer
yeah, he's
time.
been around a year. Bengals. I'm not sure who they would have had.
Boomer? No, I want to say Boomer Esiason, but that's like going way back. I don't know who they.
The-
Andy Dalton. They'd had the red rifle.
Nope.
No.
It was Driscoll, Jeff Driscoll, and Tom Savage.
Okay. Titans.
Titans
Would have been on. Did the Titans exist then? Yeah, they must have been there. Would have been.
Marcus Mariota.
They had
Marcus
Mariota from Oregon.
Yeah.
Patriots obviously had Brady.
Still lingering around.
Panthers would have had.
Would
that have been
they
Andy
still had
Dalton?
Cam Newton. They
No,
still had Cam Newton.
recently. Cam Newton, yes, of course, yeah. Cam
still
Newton. And then the Baltimore Ravens had the 25th pick, and they still didn't pick him.
Wow.
So they went with Hayden
But-
Hurst instead as a
but-
tight end.
As well, though, I will say this: who else did the Ravens have that year on their roster?
Flacco.
Flacco, quarterback.
Yeah,
Super Bowl
yeah.
quarterback. So they didn't need a quarterback either, and they had RG3 in the building as well.
Yeah. Falcons had. Should know this.
Cousin? No.
Yeah, Cousins most
Come
recent.
on,
Have you forgotten how
Still got all blurs into one. The Falcons back then would have had.
but a generational quarterback here.
Oh, Matt Ryan.
Matt
Matt
Ryan.
Ryan? Yeah, of course. Yeah, Matt Ryan.
28-3, wasn't it?
Seahawks had Wilson. Steelers had Roth. The Jags had. Who cares? I mean, they did well. They were in the 29th pick.
Has anyone watched The Good Place before?
No.
Yeah, on background noise, but yes.
You
They
need to watch
had
Bortles. Blake Bortles.
Blake Bortles.
Oh, Blake Bortles, yeah.
I'd recommend it, by the way, The Good Place. It's brilliant.
It's actually
and
quite amusing.
the
It's
guy
quite
in
amusing.
it is in love with Blake Bortles. One of the guys is in love with Blake Bortles. It's brilliant.
And then the Vikings would have had Kirk
Kirk
Cousins
Cousins.
at that point. So, you know,
Kirky
did he
chains.
go?
Yeah.
Did he move the year before from the Washington, or
Commanders
that
to
year he moved to Washington from Washington? Sorry, because that's where he.
around that year.
It was that year.
Yeah,
That year
I
he
think
yeah.
he
turned up.
So
traded Washington. Yeah.
they'd picked up that quarterback that year, so they weren't going to, and obviously Patriots
So there were
were
a
in
couple of
the
places. Yeah, a
Ravens
couple of
side.
places there that Lamar could have gone, but it just lucked out for
Yeah.
Baltimore that he was there.
No Rams, because we traded all of our picks away to
You
go and
fuck-
get
Goff.
Goff
at
I
that
think
2
point.
years
Yeah.
before.
Yeah. That was your archetypal F
That
them
was
picks.
that was the start of fuck them picks, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I
so
do
you
like
can
that.
see why he dropped. I think, you know, obviously all the point of that is you can understand why Lamar Jackson dropped pick 32, given the quarterback.
But he was also
situation.
not the archetypal pocket passer
No, I was gonna
NFL
say
ready, wasn't he?
Mm.
He was
this.
looked at as a gadgety running back who threw the ball
This was
rather
kind
than
of the start of it, wasn't it? The start
Yeah.
of, I don't want to say the start of
That year.
gadget quarterbacks, but dual threat quarterbacks this year was a lot more. It was like the first big year, obviously, with Josh Allen coming out.
Yeah.
And I mean, even to say, yeah, Baker Mayfield, it did have the ability to scramble. He still does. And I think this was sort of the year we started to, or around this time, we were seeing that transition, weren't we, to dual
Yeah.
threat
I
quarterbacks.
think what had happened here is that a lot of coaches from college had moved into the NFL and they brought with it that ability to kind of, hey, just put an athlete back there. He can run, he can throw. He doesn't necessarily have to just do the 3-step drop or the 7-step drop or the 5-step drop. You don't have to be 6'4" and have perfect pouncing because you can move and you can do this sort of stuff. I think a lot of that kind of evolved. And yeah, Lamar was just that sort of transitional.
It was from that, like, from that move
RG3,
from,
I
like,
think.
yeah, the RG3, the Cam Newtons, you know, that sort of era where we just started to see it come through. So then the college started developing them a lot more.
Yeah, well, to be fair, I think in all fairness, college has always had those. And I do want to go back 2 years to when we started this podcast, which, by the way, I think this week it's our second birthday.
No way.
I do believe I need to double check on the calendar, but it's our second birthday this week, so happy birthday, gents.
Happy birthday to us. Well done, Sam. Well done, Fletch. And well done.
But I want to go back
Well
to
done. Welcome to the team, Adam.
First
Bad smell
ever
that just lingered around and is always here.
episodes that we did, and we were kind of introducing the general concept of college football to those who were new to it. And Gary, you were talking about how, look, college, even the lineup is different. How you line up at the line is different to the way you do it in the NFL. And in college, you tend to rely on more athletic quarterbacks. They tend to be athletes.
God, did I even sound like I knew what I was talking about 2 years ago?
No, none of us believed it then either. So when
okay, still here though.
Like we're talking about going back to being athletic and how college rewarded and seemed to like having athletic quarterbacks. Then they start to be schemed for in the NFL because the year before Lamar Jackson was drafted, Patrick Mahomes
Derrick
comes
Henry.
out. No, that was the year before he won the Heisman. The year before it was because Lamar Jackson won the Heisman and then stayed another year in college and then was drafted in 2018. The 2017 draft was Patrick Mahomes. So you then get that year that Lamar Jackson's in the league is Mahomes' first year, and then you really start to see how, like, okay, they give the keys to a kid who can do all this. Cam Newton saw success, went to a Super Bowl because he was different and teams couldn't scheme for him. Patrick Mahomes started to see the success. Then they saw the success with Lamar Jackson and these teams started to say, geez, man, like, actually, we
can do
need
this. This
these
can work in
guys
the NFL.
are difficult. You start to that is the shift in the NFL for him. We want traditional pocket passers to let's have guys who can run, make plays, be athletic, and there is that. It's about the time of the shift.
It's a bit like the shift we've seen, I would say, over the last probably 5 or so years as well, from having one single 3-down back to having dual
running backs by committee.
Running back by committee. I mean, I think that's become a lot more prevalent, I would say, in the last
Yeah, I mean, you
3
used to have
years, I would say.
you used to have the bell cow. You used to have your three down back guy who you would just build your team around. Just give him the ball. He'll get you a first down, even if it's 3.5 yards, 3.5 yards, 3.5 yards. That's enough to get you a first down. We'll just do that again and again. You don't have that bell cow running back. Although if you look at Baltimore, yes, they do.
Some teams still do. Like some teams still have pocket passing quarterbacks,
Yeah.
i.e. the Rams. But you see a lot more development of, and this is where the value of the running back in the draft goes down a lot, apart from obviously potentially with Jeremiah Love this year, is teams don't need a single running back who is elite. It's nice to have one, but it's better to have 2 or 3 that are very good who can do the job than
And
one singular great one.
Cost you 15 million less because you've got them in round 3.
Having 2
and if your QB
backs
can also pick,
that can do different things. So, like again, you look at the way the Lions have built the
1-2
backfield.
punch.
One of the best in terms of having the 1-2 punch, having Sonic and Knuckles, and I think the Lions over the last couple of years have been one of at the forefront of doing it this way. You have a home run hitter who can be utilized in the passing game. He can catch passes. He can do. You have the guy you want in space, and then you have the guy who you want running up the middle between the tackles.
Yeah. You want your first down back who's going to bat you 3-4 yards. Yeah. You want that. You want that bruiser first, who, as you say, first down gets you 3 yards, gets you ahead of the chains, as we always say. If you can get 2nd and 7, 2nd and 6, you're ahead of the chains. And then you bring in your speedy guy who you dump it off to and just goes or takes one cut. Raheem Mostert was glorious at this.
The Mostert duo was just unreal, wasn't it?
Absolutely, just one cut and go. Yeah, but that one cut and can literally just rip the defense to pieces. That's where that came from. But what you used to have, Emmitt Smith and all those guys, where you'd be in every single down. They'd be blocking, they'd be doing everything. And you'd give the ball to them and they'd run it and they'd smash it up the middle and they'd smash it up the middle and they'd smash it up the middle, or they'd pass it out, or they'd bounce you outside. That's gone. You don't have that one single running back anymore.
There is only one running back from the 90s that deserves mentions in any conversation. That is the greatest
Barry
running back
Sanders.
of all time, my friend.
Greatest running back of all time.
So,
second greatest running back of all time. Walter Payton.
Brown first.
Walter Payton beats him.
Okay.
Sweetness beats him but only just.
I say I needed to throw that one out there.
No, I totally agree with you. Totally agree with you, though. I had the joy and pleasure of being able to see both of them. Both of them amazing running backs.
Oh yeah. But I mean, we've gone back 10, and that was the idea to go back 10. And I realised
we've gone off tangent. We somehow managed to talk about all sorts of stuff.
What I do think is it has sounded at times like very NFL podcasty, but actually what we're coming from is the point of it's the draft, it's draft season, and I think for us, it's the point of having that success in college and how does that look in the NFL going forward as we look to send as we are sending these guys over to hurdle the line, over to unsportsmanlike conduct.
Please take care of these guys.
As Sam and the Fantasy Den team get ready for them in the dynasty drafts and in the drafts this year, right? As we send them over to you guys, how does this success in college translate to the NFL? And I think the best way that we've been able to do that is, who every year is the most successful player in college? That's the Heisman winner. And how have they then fared in the NFL is a good barometer for high success in college, not necessarily high success in the NFL, and also not even necessarily high success in terms of draft stock.
Yeah. Also, don't forget there are more awards than just the Heisman.
I think the thing is, though, is that
people need to be very much aware that there is the Heisman, and everyone knows the Heisman, and it's the best college player.
I do
but
think
there are
well,
plenty of awards out there for best receiver, best QB, best lineman, best all the other awards get given out. So do a bit of research, have a look around.
I do think the media drives a lot of the draft as well. I mean, obviously you see them in the combine and all that, blah blah blah. But obviously the biggest thing is if they're coming out of college winning the Heisman because they've been the best college quarterback of that year, for example, is we've seen most of them are quarterbacks.
Officially best college player, but let's be honest, it's been so quarterback heavy since however long.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's still the majority of them are quarterbacks that win the Heisman because of the nature of the position, as it is with the MVP.
Yeah.
It usually is a direct barometer of this is probably going to be the first quarterback off the board, generally speaking. And obviously there are outliers, Lamar Jackson probably is an outlier, but and probably Jaden Daniels again is another, but again he was only because he was behind someone else who won it. So I think it shows you that it's probably a good barometer of where they're going to get drafted. It's not necessarily going to be a good barometer of how actually good they are in the NFL.
Yeah, that's
A lot can
probably
go
a very
wrong,
good point.
and a lot can change once they get into the pros.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
change.
as we talked about it, they tend to be the best players in college, because they've grown, they've had a growth spurt at the right time, or they're more athletic, or they just happen college because of that 18 to 21, well, normally 18, 21, 22-year-old sort of age bracket. Obviously, it's extended for the last 3 or 4 years with eligibility and extensions, and there's a tight end playing his 9th season or something this season, isn't there, or something? There are anomalies, but normally you've got this, just out of high school, you've got 4 years, you play in college. If you happen to be the biggest, fastest guy, there's a lot of chances you're going to be the best player on your team. It doesn't necessarily mean that when you move into, you've got 12 years of guys who are in the weight room, in the gym, playing the same position. You're not necessarily going to transcend over.
Yeah.
You might in the first year.
Just out of interest, and again, it's another little quizzy question I just wanted to throw out there, because Ed Fletcher probably have already looked this up, but
so it's Michigan related.
How many? Okay, so there's 3 players who won the Heisman who went undrafted in the NFL. Can you name them? I'll be shocked if you can name.
Charlie Ward didn't get drafted in the NFL.
Jason White's one of them. Jason White.
Charlie Ward went to play
Oklahoma.
NBA. He didn't play NFL.
Yeah, so Charlie Ward is one of them. He went undrafted in 1993.
Should have gone.
Won the Heisman.
Literally, just I'm going to give my Florida State. The man won every single award that he could win. As a college football player, as a senior, he won every award you could win. He won the Heisman. I think he won the the QB award. He won the offensive player award. He won all the awards he could win, and then went and played NBA.
There's one other. So Jason White was another. And I'll be shocked if anyone gets this last one because it's so long ago.
No. Because I've done it. I've done the research. I've looked it up. I'm trying not. I don't want to open the book though because it's cheating.
It's a long way back though, isn't it? Was it a Michigan player? Or was it Michigan State?
No. He was an army guy. He was an army guy.
He was an army guy.
His name was Pete something.
Pete Dawkins.
There was another guy though.
1958.
Oh,
there was one guy who ended up. He was drafted, but he technically wasn't drafted into the NFL. He was drafted into the USFL. In like the 80s, when the USFL was a thing again. I know that you've gone.
Yeah, he was drafted first in the USFL. That was Mike Rosier.
I can't remember his name, but I could remember that had happened.
Yeah, he was drafted first in the USFL.
My favourite is his name's come up a few times on it. I've posted him a few times on AAW socials for different tidbits and on this days and all that sort of stuff. The first person to ever win the Heisman Trophy is also the first person to ever get drafted. Well, yeah, technically the first person to ever get drafted, let alone drafted first overall. In Jay Berwanger.
What a name.
Never, ever played a down in the NFL.
Well, because the NFL didn't exist at that time?
Nope.
No, probably because
It was 1935.
Yeah,
So the NFL
before-
had existed for 15, 20 years before that. But it was because he had a dispute over how much they were going to pay him. And I think he wanted more money than they were offering. So he
The
said, "No."
Philadelphia Eagles selected him, but did not think that he would be able to meet. Did not think they would be able to meet his reported $1,000 per game salary. So they traded his negotiating rights to the Bears for offensive tackle Art Buss. Bowanger initially chose not to sign with the Bears, in part to preserve his amateur status, so that he could compete for a spot in the US team for the Summer Olympics in
36
decathlon.
Olympics.
Yeah.
Wow.
But then he missed the cut.
Yeah, and he went.
Not
He
the
went
right
on
way.
He
missed the
missed the
cut.
cut.
a
Not the
lot
right. He still
later.
didn't go to Berlin.
A lot later in life, he said his biggest regret was never taking the opportunity to
offer.
play in the NFL. Yeah,
Mhm.
never taking Hallis's offer to play in the NFL. He wished he would
Should
have
have
done
taken
it.
$750 rather than
Well,
$1,000.
he was after
The
he missed the cut.
the first NIL casualty.
Yeah.
After he missed the cut, they were unable to agree a salary. He wanted 15,000, and they only offered 13.5. So instead, he worked for a rubber company in Chicago.
He started a rubber company, didn't he? Or did he work for one? I thought
He took a job at a
probably-
Chicago rubber company and also became a part-time coach at the University of Chicago.
He did start playing rugby though.
He
There
did.
you go. We probably won the Olympics at the rugby because until recently the USA were the Olympic champions. Just a random trivia thought there.
And he beat the team from New York, which coincidentally had the second Heisman winner, Yale's Larry Kelly. So there you go.
There you go. The
he-
teams from New York have been shite from the outset.
He was drafted by the Lions.
He was
Um,
87th
So-
pick.
I do like especially some of those earlier draft stories, because you had to go through the fact that the draft wasn't what it is now. It's a TV spectacle at the end of the
The
day.
Yeah.
draft's only
Like the
interestingly. When did the draft suddenly become? It's only been very recently, right?
Well,
And when I say very recently, I'm talking 10, 15 years max. Before, the draft was just kind of shipped in, phoned in. Wasn't a big thing. Wasn't even on TV. Get out your little black book there, Fletch. I reckon it's only been since 2011.
So we're saying when was the NFL draft commercialized? Is what we're saying.
Pretty much. When did the NFL
Well,
kind of go, hang on, we can make some money out of selling these 3 days of
out of
base? And listen, if you think about it, what is the draft? It's 32 teams, and it's one team at every 10 minutes phoning and going, yeah, we want that guy. We want this guy.
Mm.
It's not that exciting. It really isn't.
Yeah, but it's even less exciting when you think about the basketball one, when they just randomize it and then they do it.
Just
Like-
literally pull a one-arm man in and go, you're picking now.
Bingo,
randomly.
basically.
Bingo.
How
It's called a lottery.
how do you flog a dead horse? Well, we'll commercialize it and make it seem good.
well,
Yeah.
and
We'll
by
put
the
on
way,
a big show and dance.
some of those earlier NFL drafts, by the way, were decided by a lottery.
Yeah,
Um,
literally
much like
pull a
the NBA.
straw. And it's
But
like,
they realised it was probably not the best way to go about it. But I think from the 80s onwards, they realised I think from the 80s onwards they started televising it. I'm not sure if they started televising it beforehand. Then they
That's
realised that
naughty.
people were actually tuning in. I mean, there are great clips from like the 90s, from the early 2000s.
Oh,
I
there's
mean,
some
you
great
watch the
green
Aaron
room
Rodgers-
clips, isn't it? The Aaron Rodgers
Aaron Rodgers
green room.
sliding.
Oh,
You've got the year before that when they're interviewing Eli Manning and his dad.
There was
they're
the
like,
yeah,
why
when
don't you
it's
want to
like,
play for the Chargers? We're not going to get
don't
into that
draft
right
me.
now.
We're not getting it.
Which
Don't draft me. Yeah.
everybody seems to forget. We all talk about Eli Manning getting drafted by the Chargers, not playing for the Chargers, getting traded off to the Giants. Who else was involved in that debacle?
Brees, wasn't it?
Philip Rivers.
Oh, it was Rivers, was it?
Because the Giants then drafted Philip Rivers, then
Sent him back
immediately
the other way.
traded
Rivers to the
Then
Chargers.
Because
and
what they
Chargers
said
to-
was the Chargers basically agreed the trade and said, well, then you pick Rivers for us and we'll then do the trade that way. That's
Yeah.
essentially
Yeah.
how it went, wasn't it?
And Philip Rivers gets the call from the Chargers, gets off the
No.
phone, and then apparently a kid walks in and says, Rivers has just been traded to the Giants. And they're like, what? Are you on about? Is this true? So he's trying to. So there's this kid who knew about it before Rivers knew he was actually going to New
Yeah.
York instead. And I was listening to him talk about it the other day. But everyone seems to forget. I hear people talk about the Eli Manning stuff all the time. I heard no one bring up Philip Rivers, who was a casualty and all that, and had to sit in
Where
a
did Drew
room.
Brees? Didn't Drew Brees get
No,
drafted? No, Drew Brees got drafted by the Chargers, didn't he? But
he did.
did he play for them? He played for
He
them a
did.
bit, though, didn't he? He did
He
play
did.
for
He
them and
played for him
then
for like
went
4
to.
years.
Wow.
He played for him for like 4 years and then got traded to the Saints
Ah,
Made
because
the Saints.
yeah.
But I said some of those early drafts, like finding out why the draft occurred and why they turned and started a draft, and it's just really fascinating. One thing I want people. Oh, by the way, before we go and we officially wrap up, I will remind people this year's draft is slightly different, especially the first round. It's the first timing change since 2008
8
when they
minutes to
took it down
pick,
from
yeah.
15 to 10 minutes. It's now down to 8 minutes in the first round.
It will
So,
still seem an eternity for the Raiders to put that pick in, though, won't it?
yeah, I mean, they tell teams now, though, don't they? Because they're like, listen, Applebee's have got 20 million lining on this, so we need to get at least 3 of theirs in.
Can you
For the
can
first
you get
6.
some of these
But
adverts
this is
in
the
and stuff?
problem, isn't it? It's become so commercialized that actually a pick that will probably only take 2 minutes ends up taking about the full 8 minutes
Seven and a
because
half. Yeah, 7.5
it's
minutes.
about
They
with adverts.
Yeah.
shoehorn the adverts in and stuff. Yeah, because everyone is. It's much like the Super Bowl,
The
isn't it?
pick.
Super Bowl halftime adverts cost a fortune. That first advert is worth millions, isn't it?
The pick
So the
doesn't
first.
even take that long, right?
Ah,
If you think about it, you've got the time it takes for Roger Goodell to walk from the side of the stage to the podium, which is going to milk like crap, and he'll stand there doing the whole boomy stuff.
yeah, yeah. So there's a minute
But
there of Goodell making himself feel
it
like
takes with the first pick of the 2026 NFL Draft, the Las Vegas Raiders select Fernando
Fernando
Mendoza,
Mendoza.
quarterback, Indiana.
India.
But then he's not even there, is he? Because he's
No.
going to be celebrating at home with his family.
Yeah.
So then he's going to hold up the shirt, and then they'll probably pan to him at home with his family in a video, and then that'll be it.
That's what we'll
Yeah.
see. We'll see
Mhm.
that while
But-
Rich Eisen's talking, or
Well, they're
or Mel
talking about
Kiper's-
pick 3 by this point because they've already
Yeah.
moved on. But yeah,
But-
we've seen 15 adverts for Liberty.
I think what I think's the best bit though is like, and it sounds like I'm taking a shot at them. I promise you, I'm not. But
He is though.
the people who go to the draft and turn up and are at the thing, it's them that I'm like, at least we've got the stuff in the middle. At least we've got all the other fluff that's going on. They get the pick. Goodell walks off the stage,
And they get
and then
8 minutes of hanging
Void.
around. Yeah. Although fair play, I know at least 3 or 4 UK people who are flying
yeah.
out to the draft. So I mean, if I got the opportunity,
oh yeah,
I'd do it. I'd take
mean,
it. But I agree with you. You'd be standing around for lots of
When
that
you
time
can't-
with not much happening and whatnot. But
I think no, I'm not gonna say that on the pod. But if we were to be able to go, I would not have a problem with being there. I think it'd be a good experience. They'll have something on the stage. They'll have a singer sing a song, or they'll have someone come on and do like some juggling, or they'll have some sort of entertainment going on. There's all the fan fest stuff, but once that draft starts, for the most part, you are stood there going,
we don't
Yeah,
pick
the
until
nippy in it now,
29.
really.
Jeez, we've got 4
You know,
hours of listening and booing of everybody else. And yeah, what do you?
It's the standing there and just going, oh, getting a bit nippy, but ain't it? Oh, pal. I wonder.
Started off great.
Wonder when we're going to wear the noise.
Should have brought a hoodie now, shouldn't I? Yeah. Anyway,
when we're gonna
we
wear
should
that
go
fan
to the
next.
Natty next year. Let's put college football UK on the media. Let's go to the Natty
Yeah,
in
if you want to
Georgia.
pay for it, it's going to cost you thousands.
Vegas next year, isn't it?
Is it fake?
Yeah, come
Oh,
on, Gary. Did you hear that? Gary's just. Do you know
I
what?
never
Gary-
said I
Gary
wanted to
can-
pay
on
for
him
it. I
saying
said
that.
we should
Gary
put us
can
on the
pay for
media
it with
thing.
he can pay with it with his TikTok
TikTok
earnings.
fame. Yeah, well, I try monetize my TikTok after Silverstone. I've just seen a look at the new Silverstone stand. By the way, frickin' hell. Anyway, side issue. They've built a massive stand where I'm going to be messing around with next year.
Bouncing.
It's enormous. It literally looks like the East Stand at fucking Etihad. It's enormous. 16,000 people go in it.
Won't be as
Bloody
empty
hell.
as the Etihad, though, I suppose.
No, it won't be, and it won't be full of plastic fans who don't
You know
understand the
what?
rules.
I was being polite, so I'll do it now. Second again, second again, second again. Ole ole. Anyway,
We'll be back to first by the weekend, so it's not a problem.
yeah, that's fine because like you can do that because we'll be in a cup semi-final and you'll be
Not.
not in a cup semi-final.
Are you in the Champions League still? No, you
No.
lost.
No, it don't matter to the ones of us who've won it before. It's old news was that one.
How many times you won it? Just out of curiosity.
Once.
Right.
Old news to those who've won it.
Come back when you're anywhere near us.
It's still, by the way, that parade is still one of the greatest events I've ever been to. That was brilliant. Pissed it down all afternoon. Amazing. So
Moving swiftly.
talking about the actual draft and the bits in between and the stuff you get on TV, what I do think though is as much as great as Rich Eisen is, and he's going to be doing his run for St Jude's Hospice, I think there is actually better ways that you can spend the time in between that draft, and that will be listening to me, Byron, Joe, and a plethora of other AAW network people who will be joining us on our live draft super show on Thursday night for the first round. Please do join us for it, even if you can only, even if it's 10 minutes, 20 minutes, half an hour. Jump in, get involved in the chat. I am so proud of everything that we've kind of built at the AAW. Let's show good teams, win great teams, cover like what we built, what we're made of. At the AAW. Please go into the socials. We'll be covering loads of stuff on social media alongside the draft, as well as on the AAW underscore NFL, as well as on underscore AAW underscore network, as well across my socials, across Gary's socials. Sam, will probably be crying about Arsenal on his socials instead. That'll just be happening. And obviously on CFB UK View, there'll be plenty of draft stuff, I'm sure, going on across CFB UK View as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. So
doing the same up.
all of us will be getting involved across the weekend. So I suggest you get following, get involved with us on the night, and we will see you next week as we are, as Nick says, these people are dead to us now.
These people are dead to us now.